I'm Ryan Milton from TeamFFLEX. Today, we're going to be talking about Fit Model Division. We're going to talk about a Masters 35 Plus class. We're going to look at our top 5 competitors, why those placings landed the way they did, and ultimately what that means for you if you want to do your best on Fit Model stage. You're trying to get an idea of what this division is doing. Is it for you or not? That's hopefully what I'm going to teach you, and I'll tell you this right out the gate. I actually have an athlete who won this class, Caileen here, Coach Caileen, also on TeamFFLEX. She went and won this, so this will be one of the most in-depth fit model videos that I have been able to do for you guys, because I have actually class winner Caileen here, and obviously I coach her, so I'm going to give you a lot of tips, tools, snippets, things that are going to help you if you're trying to compete in fit model, give you a better idea if this division is for you. So hang out, stay with me the full time. I promise you there's a lot of gems in here. I'm hopefully not going to take forever, but you know, sometimes there's a lot to say. So let's get down to it. This is NPC Valley of the Sun. This is a Masters 35 class. Caileen, my client, also TeamFFLEX coach. A lot of you probably are familiar with her. As she went and won this class, she also won her open from this event. Now, if you remember, Caileen, we also have done several other fit model competitions this year, this season, including the first actual fit model competition, muscle contest, the challenge, the fit challenge, the expo, back in, I think, January, February, one of those. I can't remember exactly right now. So I'm going to give you a lot of insights and information on that. She's a former bikini competitor, now fit model competitor, and there's a lot that you can learn from that. Over here we have Catherine taking second in this group, and over here we have third, Julie, taking third place, obviously, as I say, third, Julie. Okay, so we're going to look at that. I believe there are a few other competitors in this group we will also take a look at, but overall, this is what we're looking at for fit model rolling out across the states, across the world in the Masters 35 group. I wanted to share this one because I know there's a lot of, more of the Masters tier trying to figure out fit model, not really sure where to go. Well, this is what it looks like playing out across the board. So, as you know, Caileen, Coach Caileen here, we have done several competitions this year. Basically, she was on bikini prep like late last year. We were already getting ready for this 2025 season in bikini. And as soon as Fit Model came out, we decided to make the jump, give it a run, test it out, run it for a season, see what we thought. For one, so we could coach better. For two, just to see if maybe she'd be a better fit there. Or for three, if she enjoyed it more than she does competing in bikini. So Caileen is actually a former bikini competitor, now fit model competitor, and we'll see where that lands over time. Right now we're gearing up to hopefully try to go get a pro card, but for the sake of the video, I think it's important for all of you to know many of you might be former bikini competitors or someone who considered bikini, and there's a lot of differences that come with that. Fit model division is basically bikini as of 10 years ago, right? So that's really what it is. That's where it's defaulting. I've been coaching a long time. I was coaching back when bikini looked just like it does right here on this screen. Yet now, this is the fit model division. So you may ask, what is the things they're looking for? Well, symmetry, right? They want to see the upper body and the lower body be in really good symmetry, creating this hourglass shape. Even though this is not a bikini pose, this is a fit model pose, it is the old school bikini front pose, realistically. Like, all the competitors used to be doing this type of a front pose back in bikini. Over time, it kind of evolved, it molded, it became more of that side pose. It's iconic for bikini now. But before, this is what we were looking at. This is how it all really played out. So now, this is our fit model division. With that, you got to note that your shoulders got to come down. Your legs got to come down. You're not looking for the same level of muscularity as you would be in current today's bikini. So Caileen, one of her biggest things, right? If we look at her shoulders, we can see there's good roundness, good shape, good fullness here. It's not super dominant. It's not detracting from her physique. It doesn't look like she's over body powered here. And this is a very important thing, because actually I can tell you from coaching her, that was one of my main concerns coming into this season, this year, going to fit model, right? It was, okay, these shoulders, like she had bikini delts, okay? She was doing great in bikini. We were gearing up for another, nationals run this year. And one of the biggest things was we had to downsize her shoulders. And that's what I did almost instantaneously when we decided to make this switch, is I went and changed all of her programming to involve less shoulder work, because that's really what this division about. If you have too much shoulders, you're not going to place as well. And if we look out the call out here, you're going to see a a lot of similarities in the shoulder development here. None of these athletes, not Catherine, not Julie, not anybody, is overdoing it in the shoulders, right? But we are seeing Fit Model kind of make a little bit of a turn right now, where the judges are really focusing more on specific muscularity in the fullness factor, right? So Caileen brings a more rounded, more deltoid full look to this event. This is what we tried to do, and ultimately that is what seems to be doing very well on Fit Model stages right now. So you don't want to have too big of delts, but you want to have that roundness, that development, and that fullness to showcase where you are. So for Caileen coming from bikini, we had to lose some shoulder size to get here. And looking at the arms, this is another big factor for Fit Model right now. So bicep and tricep, it can definitely detract from your overall physique if you're not keeping it in tune with the shoulders. Really what you want your upper body to show is the shoulder development to create that base of that hourglass. So I'm not seeing it too much right now, but I am seeing it with some Fit Model competitors. Too much bicep and tricep makes your shoulders look off, makes your whole body look a little bit too dominant. Not going to be a go for this division, right? And we look over at Catherine, same thing. Good shoulder and bicep, tricep position here compared. Same for Julie. So we are starting to get a very considerable consistent is the word, criteria going on most shows. A lot of Fit Model are really dialing in their look as this division continues to grow. So for Caileen here, another factor, the waist, the midsection, we actually had to soften up to get here. If you paid attention to her physique, I reviewed it on this channel a while ago from the first Fit Model competition ever, which we were a part of. She won her class there. But we were definitely much, much leaner than this. And that was because we basically went into it saying, hey, it's our first one. Who even knows what they're going to want to see? Let's just bring, a little bit less than we would have for bikini, but still a look we really like a lot as far as, conditioning, everything that. It was way too lean. And basically ever since, we've been softening up. So, this is, again, what Fit Model requires. It requires a softer look where you can see maybe a little bit of separation in the shoulders, a little bit in the abdominals, oblique here, just like it is. Flat stomach, clearly not holding a lot of extra body fat, but also no specific separations in the quads and the lower body here from the front. So that's really key to note. If you want to be in Fit Model, it's going to be a little bit down. Basically, what you can think is, right, like for Caileen, for example, we were in bikini. As soon as she wanted to switch to Fit Model and we made that decision, I was pulling the cardio out of her programming. I was bringing her calories up. I was dumbing down a little bit her weight training, making it not as intense. And don't get me wrong, this physique, I'm still running Caileen through the ringer every week, right? Like she's not sitting around to sit there and, be watching TV all day and this is how you look. It's not how any Fit Model competitor is going to go. You got to train hard. You got to do all this and that. But with Fit Model, it is a little bit less intense across the board than it is for something like bikini or wellness or anything like that, where you got to be bigger, you got to be leaner, you're going to have to do those things. I can tell you by default, if you make a Fit Model choice over bikini or wellness or any of those other divisions, you're going to have easier preps. That's just the way it is. You're going to do less cardio, you're going to do less dieting as far as severity of your calorie restrictions, so on and so forth, and your weight training won't be as in-depth and intense as it would be if you were doing any of the other divisions. So really important for all of you watching to note that if you are interested in the idea of competing and not having to, go to certain levels of intensity, extremes, or maybe your life just doesn't support it, well, here you go. There's a division for you to do that, right? So looking at Caileen lower body wise, what you're going to see from the front pose here is you really want to focus on quads. And this has actually been a feedback point this season. Judges want to see a little bit more fullness in her quads. We brought that in, really just kind of changed a few things in the training and mainly how we peaked in, and boom, there it was, a complete slam dunk look for her. Wins this class from the front, right? So she is actually on track to go to nationals, attempt to get a pro card. I'll keep you all updated on that as we go, considering that I review everything. So go and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not done that yet so you can see that. Let's look now out the call out just a little bit to Catherine. So Catherine here, a little bit less fullness in the shoulder. Very on par with this division though. Really, really good look overall for what Fit Model is bringing. She has the good fullness in the quads. Her conditioning is very on par here as well. I think realistically, honestly, what takes her, into the second spot over first is a little bit lack of symmetry up top. So because the shoulders are not as full, they're not as as rounded here, her quads and her lower body can look a tad overpowering, right? Keep in mind, we're just looking at the front pose. Got to get to the back. I always say that, so hang out, stay tuned. We're going to get there in a second. But overall, you know, very on par with this division. Conditioning is where it should be. Everything is good here. Maybe a tad softer than Caileen, the first place winner here. Maybe just a tad, but, you know, again, very, very close. Looking over at Julie, we can see a little bit more of that shoulder fullness, roundness overall, tapers in at the waist good. Lower body seems to be pretty symmetrical here. Everything looks good. I am getting a little bit more of a shoulder forward look from her, right? So delts appear to be a little bit bigger. Also, maybe even just a tad into her arms. Not as bad, but realistically, the delts do appear that. And that can be some posing stuff. Like I could tell you guys, the amount of pose tweaks we've had to do for Caileen, it's been across the board. Me, many of the posing coaches on TeamFFLEX working with her, like just making all these changes, trying to get judges' feedback, trying to, you know, do everything we can to optimize this pose, because basically the fit model posing is brand new posing for a lot of people. If you've been, you know, competing for a long time, maybe you used to run that back in bikini, but realistically most have not practiced this pose like this for years and years. Unless you're getting ready for fit models. So there is a lot of posing tweaks and a lot of things to figure out. For example, Caileen specifically, just trying to give you all further insight, you know, there was some posing we were doing where her shoulders could have looked a little dominant, all right? And we made some posing tweaks, and the same shoulders can look not dominant anymore. So, you know, that's something to be aware of, maybe a factor for Julie, but overall, she's right on par with this criteria, this division. She does appear just a tad leaner to me, maybe in the midsection, could be another factor. Obviously, we got to get to the back pose, though. That's where the full story is always told. Okay, starting with Caileen here. By the way, if you guys want to, go check out my free coaching trial here, okay? This is 7-day free coaching trial. Grab your phone right now, type it in. It's TeamFFLEX.com/7-day trial, and you can train with me free for 7 days. I can give you a lot. I'm giving you a lot of information on what Caileen did and everything else. I can give you a lot of information on what you should be doing if you go check out my free trial. So no reason not to do this. You don't put payment info. I'm not going to charge you. You don't do that. This is literally my give back to the bodybuilding community, to all of you watching, those of you out there. I want to give you more. I want to help you more. That's why I sit here and make these videos, you know, and I do this and that, is to help you, all you viewers out there. Well, I can help you a lot more in depth if you come train with me, right? I can show you workouts, exercises, things to do, give you feedback on your physique, whatever it is you want. I coach you as if you're my client, free for 7 days. Great opportunity. Definitely check that out. Now, let's pop into the back post here. So again, what we're looking for basically in the back post for fit model, total symmetry up and down. So it should, again, look like an hourglass shape. That's overall what we are looking for, what we are aiming at. Now, fit model, it will be a little bit more of a fuller look. You're going to have more fullness in the glutes, more fullness in the lower body overall, and even into the upper body. And this is because the rules specifically state do not show tie-ins. So you won't see tie-ins on any of these competitors, and that's very on par with this division. You might say, oh, Caileen looks like she has some tie-ins. This is not specifically what the judges consider a tie-in, right? This is separation from the glutes and the hamstrings, but in that sense, like I could tell you guys, that is not, like go think of the Wellness Olympia winners, right? And at the top, you'll see those tie-ins where it's like chiseled in granite. You can't unsee it. That's what judges think of as a tie-in. So when they note the rules, no tie-in, this considers to them that this is no tie-in. So that's really important to note. And this is why it's, again, good to have a coach, have somebody who knows what they're doing, help you along the way. But overall, you know, just a little bit of that shape showing from the back and the shoulders. That's what we want to see. Lower body tapers in. Overall, waist really good here. Still want to see that. And lower body wise, you know, this is where obviously the biggest judging is taking place for fit model division. Judges are looking for a little bit of that upper glute fullness, less though in this division than bikini. And if you watch the channel, I'm talking about bikini or wellness. They're still looking for this, but less, because you know why? We're talking about 50% suit coverage, okay? A lot of suit coverage here. Judges are not hammering that as much. They're not looking for it, but they do want to see that fullness. So for Caileen, again, we brought in a much fuller look to this competition. She won this class, especially compared to, you know, her previous event where we were much leaner back at the beginning, the first one. And so we brought a lot of fullness in here. And for her nationals, what we're planning to do, again, bring a fuller, tighter look even than this. And we'll see how that holds up. But overall, you want to see, you know, that symmetry from the quads to the glutes to the hamstrings all be symmetrical. I think it's a total slam dunk look for her, and obviously judges agree she won this class. the Masters and also the Open. So great job to Caileen if she's watching. Well, you know, I've already told her she's my client. But anyway, all right, let's look over at Catherine. So Catherine here, this is where we can see a little bit of what I was saying from the front. Not as much coming from those shoulders, right? We don't see as much of that roundness and the fullness like we do on Caileen's shoulders here. So I think, again, judges are really pulling that out. They want to see a little bit more of that. And just looking lower body, though, for Catherine, we can really tell this is a very dominant lower body look, meaning the glutes look bigger, quads look bigger, hamstrings look bigger. All that kind of is just bigger than the upper. So you're, you know, it's a tad asymmetrical of a look. That's not going to favor super well in Fit Model. She still takes second here. Great on par physique for this class, but rebalancing a little bit, probably really the key to getting that better, you know, look overall on stage. And looking over here at Julie, Julie does appear to be just a little bit leaner. We do see a little bit more of this tying going through, but also just not as much fullness, right? Not as much fullness overall from the glutes and the hamstrings, and that's really key in this division. Judges are looking for fullness for Fit Model. I mean, that is no doubt the case. You do have to be at a certain level of condition, but you absolutely got to be full, meaning like your muscles, they got to look filled out. You don't want to look depleted. You don't want to come in, you know, too small. If you have that, that's, you know, they're looking for muscle here. They really want muscle. And that's, again, the Fit Model look. All right, let's take a look now at our fourth and our fifth in this group. We'll leave Caileen right in the middle to compare a little bit further. So we have fourth place Sarah over here, and then we have fifth place Betsy right here. This is another two in this lineup, another two in this group, and that will, I believe, complete our class out. So let's take a look. As we go down a little bit further in the placings, we start to see a little bit more what judges are not wanting to see on a Fit Model stage. So for Sarah, you know, not as much of that shoulder fullness. Again, I think this is becoming a big one. So a lot of competitors may have seen the earlier stuff going on right this year and said, oh, well, they don't want any shoulders. That's not really the case. Judges do want to have some shoulders. They want to have that fullness in there. And, you know, she has pretty on par, honestly, with the division. But Caileen in this lineup, the class winner, definitely has more of that fullness in the shoulders. So I think, again, judging may be shifting just a tad more towards that fullness here, getting those shoulders and making, you know, that look all that. Because, again, this is not what bikini looks like. I can tell you from coaching Caileen for bikini, like I was worried about her shoulders. She'd tell you, I talk about it almost every check-in. I'm a little worried about these shoulder size, right? But, you know, we're finally here now where we've kind of had to regress the shoulder size. But overall, that's, again, something for this division to pay attention to. Sarah has good waist taper overall. Midsection seems to be on par, maybe a tad softer than some of the others in this group. So again, the conditioning as this division folds out, more and more will we see a consistent messaging from judges with the condition, right? Where it's going to be a certain level of leanness. We're going to see it all the time, and we won't really see much up and down from that. I think that's going to be the case. Lower body-wise, she is definitely quad heavy here, and this honestly probably showing this much muscle here, this conditioned look, maybe a hurt factor in this division, because again, judges are not really looking for that as much. So a little bit of a posing tweak, maybe also tad too muscular in that lower body here, where you start to push out, you know, the ability to look as symmetrical, right? Not as much up top, a lot down here. Not a great combo for Fit Model, where it's all up, down, left, right symmetry. That's what you want to have across the board. Looking over at Betsy, again, you know, we're seeing a lot of different posing in Fit Model. So all you Fit Model comparisons, please be posing a lot and doing it very often and making sure that you're working with somebody that knows these poses, because that's really, really key and critical. Not to say that anybody's posing incorrectly in this lineup, but there is a variance of posing, and that does have an effect on, you know, what you end up doing on stage for sure. So we look here now in what we can see a little bit more in that shoulder, tapering at the waist, good oblique, conditioning's on point. Lower body wise though, not as much fullness and not as flattering of a pose here for the lower body structure in general. Really what you want to make sure you do is in that front pose, you create that balanced symmetry look. So for her, we're not seeing a lot of that lower body muscle here, and that is going to throw off the look to make the upper body look just a bit dominant. So that's probably what's going on here in that spot. Let's go to the back, get the full story from both of our fourth and our fifth here. So Sarah overall, you know, again, the shoulders maybe just need a little bit more fullness, especially in the back when we can see the glutes and the hamstrings and the quads and everything here do have a good considerable amount of size. I would say also that it appears overall that symmetry factor is the main factor, because conditioning seems to be okay from the back, seems to be pretty on point. Probably just needs to pull that through again, maybe just a tad tighter there to create a little bit more of that tie-in zone. Even though it's not noted, there is going to be a little bit, right? We can look at Caileen, you could say, oh, that's a tie-in frame, but no, it's really not. Betsy over here, definitely from the back, you know, it's interesting how in the front pose, it looked like her lower body was a little bit under, from the back, it looks a little bit dominant, right? And so we're just not getting the same effect from the shoulders here. Could be posing. Also, we need a little bit more depth from the glutes, so more development overall, a little bit more symmetry from the quads and the glutes to kind of fill out, complete that lower body look. So really good class. Great job to all the ladies in here. This is definitely a very on par, and it's great to see athletes competing and, you know, jumping out into this new division and doing this. I'm just simply trying to highlight placings to give you all better insight into what judges are actually looking for on these stages right now as it's playing out. So if you want me to feature more of my athletes, I don't always feature them, but I thought this one would be super beneficial, so I put it in here. Let me know, and I'll do more of those. And you know, let me know in the comments, are you competing in Fit Model? Are you going to be doing it this year? Jump on stage, put your show down in the comments if you are doing it. Thank you for watching, and make sure you're doing the free trial. Seriously, go check it out. All right, Coach Rye is out.